Titans, Titans, Titans. It's your time to feel the wrath of Rasputin. No, but seriously, this is your Titan Warmind build mixed in with the Sunbreaker bottom tree Sun Warrior and the Phoenix Cradle exotic. And I have to say, this build is pretty fun to use and is insane for ad clearing. So guys, stay tuned, drop that rating and subscribe, because this is a pretty good one. Now firstly, before we start, I will mention that you can use this build in most activities, including OK difficulty nightfalls, but if you're wanting a build specifically for harder nightfalls like Master and Grandmaster, then let me know and I'll make some builds targeted for those activities. But this build is designed mostly for those casual activities, and now that said, let's get on with the build, and as usual, we will be using our build testing Lost Sector here on Nessus. So starting with the loadout, we are using a sniper with the anti-barrier mod, so we can defeat barrier champions in those harder activities, and the iKelos SMG, as this will create our Warmind cells, which is what this build is mostly focused around, as we are a Sunbreaker Warmind build and we're trying to get those Warmind cells for ad clearing whilst using our abilities to give us those sunspots to improve our damage as well. And not just that, everything we are using here is contributing to the creation of those Warmind cells, so make sure you guys slot in a weapon that can make those Warmind cells, so that would be something like the iKelos SMG, a 7th Seraph weapon, or a Sunshot. But moving into the subclass, we are using the bottom tree Sunbreaker, which comes with its specific subclass perks. The first one that allows you to release a solar explosion that sets enemies on fire when using your melee ability. The next one, where solar abilities restore your health. Grenade, melee ability, and Sun Warrior kills leave a deadly sunspot in their wake. And I want to also quickly point out that with this, when our Warmind cells explode and kill adds, that will also create a sunspot, which is pretty crazy. But with this, our hammers will create a sunspot on impact, and standing in that sunspot will let you throw those hammers faster. And lastly, we have Sun Warrior, where passing through a sunspot causes your grenade and melee abilities to recharge faster and your super to last longer. But on top of this, your weapons will deal more damage. Now we also have an exotic to pair with this build, which we'll get to in a moment, but throw on that fusion grenade, as this will also help us create Warmind cells later on. Now for our armor and the helmet, we're running Radiant Light, specifically for that plus 20 strength to get our melee back as fast as possible. If you can get away without using this mod and still get 100 mobility, then definitely throw this mod away. But with this, we'll also have to slot that hands-on mod to gain that plus 20 strength, but it'll also give us super energy on melee kills, so that's a small bonus as well. Now with our gauntlets, I went with the global reach, where Warmind cells we create will affect and damage targets at a greater distance. Definitely worth using, as we want to maximize our range with these Warmind cells. But alongside this, we have our champion mods if you're going into those activities, so slot in the mods that you need. For me, that'll be an anti-barrier. But for our chest, we are using Rage of the Warmind to add additional solar damage to the explosions of Warmind cells we destroy, and this is quite a costly one, so that's why I decided to put it with the chest, as we are also using those cheaper damage resistant mods. However, for the legs, we are using the ExoticPhoenix Cradle, as we are running the bottom tree solar subclass, and this will allow our Sun Warrior to last twice as long at 10 seconds, and allies who pass through that sunspot will also be granted Sun Warrior, so they'll get that additional weapon damage for 10 seconds, and increased ability regeneration, so definitely good to help our allies. And this is definitely an underrated and underused exotic, as it's really not that bad as people think it is. But moving on into those mods, we're using the burning cells so that we add the burn damage to enemies when destroying a Warmind cell, so if they don't die, then this will most likely finish the job. But finally for the class, we are using Wrath of Rasputin, but you don't have to use this if you don't want to. I thought it was a good fit, as this will allow our solar splash damage a chance to create Warmind cells on top of our weapon kills, as we are using the solar subclass with a fusion grenade. You could also use the exotic Sunshot, as I mentioned earlier, which also works really well with this build. Now alongside that mod, we are also using Distribution and Bomber for those ability cooldowns, as we want to get our abilities fairly quick to keep getting those sunspots to help us out even more. For the stats, you'll want max discipline and strength if you can, or get as high as possible so we can spam those grenades and melee abilities. And we should be getting these abilities back fairly quick with this build and our subclass perks, as long as you can use those sunspots efficiently. Now like most of my build videos, this one is aimed to be played in those casual activities, and I wouldn't recommend taking this into a Grandmaster nightfall. But as I mentioned earlier, if you want to see a build specifically for a GM, then do let me know and I'll look into it. But that is all for this one. Next, you should check out my playlist, as I probably have around 20 to 30 builds in there now, and it's just going to keep expanding. So check that out if you want, or give this one a try. But for now, let me know what you think. Drop a rating, comment, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all in the next one.